So, hello and welcome, and thanks for coming by for the Advanced Business Show, where in each week we host someone to give you value and help you advance your life, your career, and so on. Today, we are talking about education, past and the future. And today, my guest is Farah Southward, which will talk us about education in this episode, and we're gonna see how we can work with someone on education, teach him a topic, and also like how we can help others with our own education skills. So Farah, I would like first to thank you for coming to the Advanced Business Show.
Great. Thank you, Emma, for having me. I'm really happy to be here with you today.
All right, me as well. So Farah, can you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
So I grew up in Canada where I lived and I worked. I've also spent 7 years working in Switzerland. And for the last 5 years, I've been based in the UK. My educational background is I have a Bachelor of Science, and I worked in the procurement industry for 20 years with large international companies such as GE and Bechtel. And we were involved in, working with power stations and the oil and gas industry, working in 35 different countries. And I decided to make a career change. And after my children were born, and I was trying to get a little bit more work-life balance. And I did my Cambridge English teaching qualification in the UK. So currently I help business professionals who already have an intermediate to advanced level of English improve their English skills for their to be able to advance professionally.
I see. So, like when somebody do a business, they might think that it's just only my technical skill. Well, it's not that only. You need to have some soft skills as well to communicate better and talk with the people around you.
Exactly. So my experience when I was working in industry was, and I'll be honest, I wasn't that passionate about my job, but it gave me a lot of opportunities and I was very successful. And I worked with a lot of colleagues who came from all over the world. And many of them were, much smarter than me, and they worked a lot harder than me, and they were really passionate about what they were doing. But the reason that I had an advantage over them was I was able to communicate in English effectively. And I also understood the culture of doing business in English. And this is sort of what inspired me to go into teaching business English, because there's a lot of, as you say, soft skills that are needed to be able to build trust with your customers and clients. It helps you open, it allows for new opportunities for you. And it allows you to tap into new markets that maybe you couldn't without effective communication skills.
I see. I see. So, like you say to us that you need to communicate better, and one of the ways or today word what you need to do is to have a good English, since it's like the international language of today.
It is. So it's the global language in many industries, whether it's science, technology, research. As I said, we were working on projects in 35 different countries, and regardless of what the local language is, most of the business was done in English. So there is a lot of value in having a good level of English. You don't need to have Shakespearean English, but you just need to be able to communicate effectively.
I see, I see. Well, so now Farah, okay, so since you have an education background and teaching other people, so let's say that I have a certain skill, or I have some certain qualification in area, and I wanna like teach someone the same skill set that I know about or I learned about. How can I teach someone else a topic?
I think the most important thing is you always have to think of relevancy, because if something is relevant to someone, they are more likely to learn it and they will learn it faster. So for example, I had a student that came to me. She was Spanish speaking and she had a very good level of English. and she needed to go and do a presentation. And what she did was she took the whole presentation and did it in Spanish and then translated it to English and delivered it. And what happened was nobody understood what had happened. And her boss said to her, "You need to take some English lessons." And she was saying, "But I have a good level of English." And she did. But what she lacked was how to present in English, because you can't just do a direct translation. I think in for anyone who has a different language other than English, you will have a joke in your own language that you cannot translate into English. It just doesn't work. And it's the same with a lot of our expressions. So if you try to do these sorts of direct translations, it can be, particularly in business, you can create misunderstanding. You can actually say things that are completely incorrect. So what I would do in this situation is actually teach how to create a presentation in English. And for her, what I did was I created a list of what I call a phrase bag. And I taught her sort of 25 to 50 different phrases that she could use, because when you're giving a presentation, no matter how skilled a presenter you are, it doesn't always go smoothly. And sometimes you need to not panic and to turn a presentation around. To do that in your own native language is difficult. It's even harder when you're speaking a foreign language. So if you have already things in your back pocket, phrases that you can pull out that you don't have to think about, it gives you time then to think about how are you going to get the presentation back on track, how are you going to bring your audience along, and how will you, structure it and move forward.
I see. So you try to make it easy to understand and more comprehensible for other people, and you try maybe to practice them on that topic.
That's right. Yes. Yes.
I see. Okay. So now, Farah, how you can actually get someone interested in a topic that you are teaching and you are giving. For example, maybe I'm teaching math, but the other person or the other student, maybe he doesn't really like math, not because he like he inside it he hates it, but maybe he doesn't understand it or have some weak area that he need to get by. So how you can engage someone in your topic and make him like eager to learn more about it?
Okay. So again, I will come back to it needs to be relevant, and you need to adapt your lessons so that it's relevant to someone's life. If you want to learn how to drive a car and you really want to be able to take that car because you want to go visit friends and you want to go out, you will be more invested in learning how to drive that car because it's going to meet a purpose. So if you could take something like math and apply it to their real world and how they use it in their life, whether it's they have a business and they need to keep accounts, um, if you make it more relevant, you are more invested in your learning, you understand why you're learning, and you're going to be more motivated to apply yourself.
I see. So let's try to get the information to them via the right vehicle or via the right way for them.
Exactly, exactly.
All right. So right here I have some statistics that is regarding the global digital market education, and it's supposedly to expand up to 172 billion dollar in 2018 it was, and currently in the future it will be in 2025 about 320 billion dollar. So we can see that here is a chance for anybody who would like to go on and start something with the digital education, because like the market is currently expanding and more people are going to use the online services to learn to earn much better skills to face what we are currently facing. So now, Farah, currently the education, and as we talked a little bit earlier about the size of the digital market education, the education is going online. There are many websites, platforms, whatever you call it. They are currently teaching and giving knowledge online for people. Do you think that this is for better or worse?
I think there's some really exciting opportunities here with the online education. Um, so I've got some groups that I'm currently teaching English to, and we have students that are interacting together now from Sweden, Germany, and Finland. And that's something that never would have happened in the past. You would have had to go to a physical language school. You would have had to take time out of your day. This allows for no travel time. It allows you to time it to suit your needs, whether you're having a lunch break or whether it's after work. And it allows for more flexibility and it allows for access to education that once you would not have access to. Of course, I've also got children who've been doing homeschooling. And so what I found is in some ways it's been really good. They've become really tech savvy. I've got my younger daughter, she's 7. And for her, it's been harder because I think at a younger age, they still really do need that experiential learning, that hands-on learning. So I think you're going to find positives and negatives to anything. There are some great benefits that can happen. And I think there's also a place for in-person education. I don't think that that can always be replaced.
I see. So, like, let's say that there is some scare knowledge out there. Maybe let's say I'm currently here in Abu Dhabi, UAE, and there is that engineer that knows how to drill an oil well over here. So he have this knowledge, and somebody maybe in Norway who want to have and possess this knowledge, like he cannot maybe travel at this time and so on. So if he go online and find that course, and he for sure, let's say, going to gain some knowledge about it. But don't you think that because this is recorded videos and so on, it can be, let's say, he will not have that one-on-one experience with his teacher. For example, maybe his teacher says, say a topic or say some point, and he want to actually ask him about it and gain more information about it. So do you think that this is actually a gap in the online education or not?
So again, what you could do is there's different levels of online education. You can have courses which are delivered via video, but there's also the opportunity to do one-to-one live calls or group calls where things can be demonstrated. There's the opportunity to interact in real time, to ask those questions. There's always going to be times where it is going to be, of course, more beneficial and easier to be in person. But I just think that we have the opportunity now to, knowledge is moving a lot faster because we have online education. And, whereas it maybe in the past, a situation like this would have brought everything to a standstill, this does allow for workarounds. And we're able to problem solve and keep work going in a time like this where travel is so restricted.
I see. So, like, let's say that there are some workaround to make the online education experience more interactive.
Yes, yes. One of the, I have a friend that's been working, she works in the medical industry, and one thing that they're developing using robotics and science and technology is a glove. And this glove is what is worn by surgeons when they're doing an operation, and it tracks every movement that they do, so that someone then in a different country can actually watch and track those same movements because they've worn this glove and they're able to see exactly how this operation is done. And they can learn the steps and the method to be able to do this. So while they're not live one-to-one, they're actually able to learn remotely how to do an operation.
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, 10 years ago, that would be seems crazy. Now we're hearing like people can work online and teach other online, even like make it more interactive.
Exactly. What was once science fiction is now our reality.
Wow, amazing. So now the person as he get older, as like the person get older, the amount of education or knowledge he try to get each year is lower. For example, like when you're fresh and you just graduated, you were like take these courses, read these books, and so on. But 5 years into your careers, you barely read a blog and so on. So, do you think that the amount of the education a person shall get, like by his age, shall increase, or just like it's okay to decrease?
Yeah, so I personally believe in the concept of lifelong learning. I think it's really important to continue to learn at any age, whether you're 8 or you're 80. And learning doesn't have to take place only in the form of an educational institution. Learning can take many forms. It can be learning to knit something, it can be learning a new language, it could be learning a new skill. The thought used to be that you're born with a certain set of neurons and then that's it and that's all you have. But we're learning so much about neuroplasticity and the neural pathways that can be created all the time. And as we are now expanding our life physically, we are seeing that our brain development is not with the instances of dementia and Alzheimer's. And the best protection against this is to keep using your mind and keeping it active and keeping those neural pathways open. And the best way to do that is through learning, because what you don't use, you lose. So I think the concept of lifelong learning is very important. It's becoming more recognized in our society, and I think it will be the path forward.
I see. So, like, maybe we should like introduce some new categories of learning for people in different ages, in different industries, and so on. Because like the knowledge currently, like in the old days, let's say that you have a knowledge and so on. You go and maybe create a seminar or one-on-one course, and you can't like you need to travel all over the world and print books, distribute them, and so on. But with today's world, you can actually create a knowledge and share it directly with thousands of people around the world, and this knowledge can actually generate more knowledge. And so like I think the things are just like getting better and better, so like we will have more and more knowledge each year and so on, and it will be like more worth it for a person to create niche topics and teach them and give them to other people.
Exactly, I agree.
All right. So, Farah, we talked earlier about the education is that going online, but for the current in-class education, what do you see like the future for the in-class education? Because for sure it's not gonna disappear directly.
Exactly. I think there is still a place for it. I think our education system has been pretty constant for a number of years or decades even. And I think this is an opportunity to revamp it. Some of it is really antiquated. What I've noticed with my children is maybe they don't actually need to spend as much time in school learning as they have been in the past, which are really long hours. They are here in the UK. The children go to school for really long hours. And perhaps the learning can actually take place in a shorter amount of time, leaving the afternoon to do things, to do other things, and to learn other skills, practical skills that in many ways they're not having the opportunity to learn, whether it's planting a garden or doing things that really interest them, learning, going canoeing and learning some bush skills and different things like that. So I think this is a really great opportunity for us to look at the education system across the board, whether it's, children or young adults or post-secondary,
Mhm.
and see how we can actually improve it and make the changes to fit our current world and our current times.
Mhm. I see, I see. So you think that the any class education needs to be expanded, not just only limited to these educational topics in the school.
Yeah, well, and I think that goes back to what we talked about earlier about relevancy. Sometimes just learning in a classroom doesn't translate to the real world, and there's a real benefit when anybody is learning and how it applies to the world around them, to the natural environment, to the built environment. Um, I think we're better able to absorb and understand how we can apply what we're learning. We're more invested in our learning. We're more interested in our learning.
I see, I see. Well, you see, like many people currently criticize the sorry, can't spell it. They say that the current education system is failing in some parts. Let's say not that it's not all bad and so on. It do give you knowledge that you will need and you will use throughout your life. But the problem is some of the main topics that you need in your life you don't get educated about. For example, money. I mean, school doesn't teach you about money, how to do your taxes, how to create an income, and so on. So just like create maybe an employee mindset and a fixed mindset as well. So it's like, okay, you have this exam, you can't like cooperate or talk with the people around you. It's considered cheating. You have to face the world by yourself, as my favorite author Robert Kiyosaki says. So like he criticized the school in this, like you can't cooperate with other people, and the school is just creating an employee mindset. What's your thought about this?
Yeah, I'm in complete agreement. I think it's quite a good criticism of our school environment, the way it's set up, and we are taught so much that everything is competition and not collaboration. And then we're entering the real world, and that's not how the real world is. And I think it is a correct statement that we are educating our children to be employees, to just sort of take in information and rather than actually learning how to think. And learning how to think today is more important than ever before because all our knowledge is at our fingertips. You can just Google and we have access to medical journals. We have access to scientific journals, things that, used to be in the hands of the few. We all have access to. So more important than learning just things like facts and figures and rote learning, we really need to know how to adapt. We need to know what it means to have a growth mindset, what it means to fail and fail forward and to keep moving. And the biggest thing is, I think, collaboration, because that's such an important part of our world and how we're able to create and grow in whatever field or industry you're in.
I see, I see. So also like what I think that is missing in today's school is we don't teach how to innovate, how to think outside of the box. You go, here is the material, you don't know what's written in the book, you are a bad person. You need to memorize it all, know it all, and so on. Which is, in my opinion, it's failing the people who can actually have, let's say, entrepreneurial mind and innovative mind, where they can like think, innovate, actually create knowledge out of nowhere, and so on.
There's a big creativity portion to that we are stifling in our education system.
Yes, hopefully you can change that, Farah, some way, somehow.
I can hopefully inspire my students, I hope.
Okay, that's good. All right. So, Farah, how a person has learned a certain skill or a certain knowledge can actually keep that knowledge in his mind so he can like maybe later on use it and so on. For example, if I teach myself to do a morning routine, okay, and I took that knowledge, how can I keep that knowledge and like use it throughout the rest of my life?
So, first of all, I think when we learn knowledge, it's not just about how, when we learn how to do things or facts and figures. I think one of the biggest things about knowledge is it changes how we think, it changes how we look at things, how we interact with each other, and how we interact with the world. And that comes about through whatever we learn. And I never think knowledge is lost. It's always back there somewhere. And we use it to build on different things. If you're learning to make something a habit, for example, like a morning routine, then like any skill, you know, whether it's learning to ride a bike, it's practice and repetition. And then it becomes like second nature. So that in time, you know, if you've got that morning ritual, it will become as part of your daily habit as it is to brush your teeth. You know, so you wouldn't leave your house without brushing your teeth. You're not going to miss out on those morning rituals, whether it's meditation or mindfulness or doing some exercise or breathing or whatever it is.
I see. So like they need to keep practicing this skill frequently to keep it so they don't actually lose it.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
I see. So
But in
like,
many,
yeah,
it's just
yeah,
like
please
language.
go ahead. Yeah,
Yeah. It's like
like
language.
language. Yeah, like
Yeah. And
speaking.
you
They
don't,
keep talking and so on.
that's right. And but also remember that, you know, skills, we have muscle memory, you know, we have memory in our body. When we've learned it once, and even if we leave it for a little while, it's not ever as difficult to pick it up again. You know, it's in there. We're just sort of accessing it and remembering it. And it is a lot easier when we do come back to it. So even if you've done something, you know, you've learned you know, a certain art technique or you've done some painting, when you come back to it, it will still be there. It might just take you a little bit to get going, but you won't be starting from the beginning again.
I see. I see. So like one of the favorite books of mine was The Power of Habit, which is talk like about like your habits can override many things, even like your own memory. Many times maybe you want to do this thing, but because you are so used to some certain steps or some certain events that you do daily, you will actually totally forget about the rest of these things and do what you actually kept practicing.
One of my favorite words is consistency, because I think, you know, I think motivation is so fleeting. You can be motivated for maybe 3 weeks. And when your motivation gone, you can't rely on that. But if you are thinking about consistency, then you are continuing to do something even in moments when you don't feel like doing something. And that's what helps create a habit. And that's what helps create a lifelong habit.
I see, I see. So our listeners need to keep practicing and do it all over again as much as they can so they don't actually lose it. So Farah, you recently started PrizeStop, if I'm not wrong. And can you like please tell us a little bit about it, what you do in it, what you provide with it?
So PrizeStep, I provide English language lessons to and coaching to professionals or anyone with an intermediate to advanced level of English that wants to improve for their business opportunities, so that they're able to deal with their clients better. They're able to bring stronger relationships. They're able to tap into new markets and go into different industries. So I offer some online classes. I offer group classes. I also offer one-to-one classes, one-to-one training.
I see. So, like, do you have any special offer for the listeners so they can like join your course and so on?
Yeah, so I've got my course, The Art of Business English, that I've just launched, and that's on a sale price today for $27. And this, what it does is it's how to use English in a business environment. And the topics that I include are things like networking, customer services, presentations, email communication, and meeting strategies. And they are straight to the point lessons that can get the student learning it straight away and able to apply it into their daily lives.
I see. So you teach them more about how they can use it in like their business life and their career, so they can like get much better and gain more knowledge and opportunities.
Exactly, yes.
I see. So we're gonna leave Farah links in the descriptions. If anyone would like to join her online course, and also you can check out her socials links and so on inside the description of this episode. So Farah, before we actually finish off this episode, do you have any last thoughts for us? Any maybe tips or something you would like to say for the listeners?
Well, I think for anyone that is looking to learn or improve their English, I think, the best thing to do is just to, go forward with it. Find a method that works for you. A lot of people, do hold back because they're frightened to take that leap or they're frightened to fail, but there's just so many benefits and things that opportunities that can open up to you. So it's worth, whether you're just going to find an online class or an in-person tutor. I think it's really beneficial to just get started and to find something that works for you.
Yes, I see. Because like I remember, since I'm not a native English speaker, like my first book in English, I tried to read. It took me maybe 3 months to actually finish it. Currently, maybe I finish a book a week. So things gets
Yeah.
much like easier by time and by practice.
And that's the thing, is like learning English is anybody can do it because it's like learning a skill. So with repetition and practice, anybody can get very good at it.
I see, I see. So I hope our listeners will keep practicing their skills and so on, so they can like advance themselves and advance their skills throughout their life. So I would like to thank my guest Farah for coming to this show, and I would like to thank my listeners for joining us today. Hopefully, you guys gained some knowledge and advanced yourself, your career, and so on. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Farah, and we hope we can see you again in the next episode of the Advanced Business Show.
Thank you for having me, Amor.
All right.